Hey everyone, and welcome back to FogCutter Live. I'm Mike Curtis here with Preston James, options trading legend and founder of Traders Edge Network. And we're here to help you kick off another week, dive into another week of trading, help you cut through all the noise and chaos out there. So Preston, we got a couple fun things to chat about today, but say hello and then we can start diving in.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of took a little victory trip this weekend coming at you from a little different locale in the San Diego area, but part of it was wrapping up Sam's, and we just had a ball. And if someone's new and does Sam's, what the hell is that? We have lots of different names around here, but it stands for Small Account Mastery Series, and we do it late spring as the summer starts. It's a blur, Mike. I came down here to kind of just get my eyes out of the market, but we did nearly an 80% return. We opened an account with $10,000. We trade it live for 10 weeks, so 10, 10, and then we see if we can turn it into something other than 10, something higher than 10. That's the whole point.
We had a really fun year. I think this is our 11th or 12th year. I have to go back and look, but we've been at this for a while. Yeah. I think of the 12, you've been 10 out of 12 profitable. Some years doubled the account. We just have a ton of fun. I think I've gotten, Preston, I haven't told you this yet, but 2 emails from our clients saying, can we do Sam's twice a year? Why don't you do it twice a year? God. You should do it twice a year.
I'm just like,
yeah. So we have a ton of fun. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. We got a fun story to share from someone that was in that Sam's group. But let's dive in. Let's talk the market from last week. So August 1st, the markets were a little rattled. We gapped down, started the month with some weakness. And then really just pretty much throughout last week, we just kind of marched back up. And really, as I look at the S&P, we're a little, we still have a little ground to cover to get back to those highs towards the end of July, but the NASDAQ is pretty much right back at it. Mm-hmm. So really what we're watching, Preston, we want to see if it can take out those highs, if it can continue this uptrend, or if we're kind of running out of steam as we just kind of slowly marched over last week. Are we running out of steam? Are we not going to clear to some new highs? And maybe we go into a little bit of a choppy sideways price action for a little while. Again, August and September historically can be slower months. There's tariff news. So maybe just share some of your thoughts on what you're seeing out there right now.
Yeah, and we've been in a whirlwind of earnings announcements. The last 2 weeks, there's literally just been hundreds and hundreds of earnings announcements in both weeks, maybe thousands. And so we start a lighter earnings week. We're kind of working through the bulk of the earnings here. And then this week we have the CPI coming out on Tuesday. That's before the market open.
Right.
We have the PPI, so Consumer Price Index, Producer Price Index. These are all very inflationary sensitive, Fed sensitive reports. Retail sales on Friday also carries a high potential market impact. And a new University of Michigan sentiment survey on Friday. So we have those laced in. I'm really curious about Circle, CRCL. They announced earnings before the open tomorrow on Tuesday morning. And another interesting thing this week, Mike, but with crypto just being hot to trot with Bitcoin. Last I saw it was in 120,000, just north of that. A company called Bullish with the ticker symbol BLSH. It's a Peter Thiel group, but what it is, it's a crypto broker dealer, some kind of a thing. I can't put my mind all around it, but it's probably going to be hot. And if you're not a crypto fan, the ticker symbol of Bullish is BLSH, and I just saw it said that that kind of stands for someone, if you spell out the full BS term, that ticker symbol looks like that.
It's like an
But
abbreviated version of that.
it's not cold right now. It's the water's warm in crypto world. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely. And Preston, as we kind of climbed back up to these highs, and it felt like, the market hasn't had quite as much punch to it. I mean, it's still, we still had days where the market surged higher and we covered some ground. But some of that strength that we saw, May, June, July, feels like a little bit of that is maybe just stalling a little bit. So I know for some of my positions, I didn't close a bunch of things out. I know you just going through earnings, there's a few that naturally you've closed. But I just started getting maybe a little more defensive in a few places. That doesn't mean I'm closing things down, but tightening up put protection, just being a little bit more, slightly more defensive minded. Preston, I know you've cleared out a few positions. Is some of that same thinking? Is it just really the earnings? Some of these stocks have lose their edge. And I know before we went live, we were talking a little about sector rotations. Maybe you could just share some thoughts.
Yeah, I'm just starting. That's a good point, Mike. I'm just starting to build a little interesting list when my eyes happen on a Salesforce CRM. I mean, one of the 800-pound gorillas in the whole world. And Salesforce right now is right about where the April lows were. Look at that. I mean,
Crazy.
So we've had the NVIDIAs, we've had amazing snapback from the April lows. Here's a Salesforce that's back down at the April lows. Now, is it time to get in it? We always say you never know how high these can go and you never know how low. So we don't want to just get in because it looks low.
Right.
No, but we want to build a watch list. So this company hasn't participated in this torrid move. I would imagine that there's going to be some cream coming out of the NVIDIAs. I mean, NVIDIA went from 2 trillion to 4 trillion in about 3.5 months. No one can comprehend that type of gain. It's impossible. So is it going to go back down? No, but they will take a break, and money is going to find a home where it feels like the risk reward, validates it.
Right.
And that's just the story of the market. So while we have pharma stocks and other whole industries that are down, we have members of the tech community that are also down that will likely benefit from sector rotation. So I'm just building a list and keeping an eye on big, huge hefes like this.
Yeah. And a lot of opportunity, Preston, comes out of earnings season, right? You start seeing stocks reacting strongly, breaking out of ranges, new, kind of the new attention, new focus. So it can be a great time for me, at least, and maybe you can speak to this too, but I'll shut a few positions down. It gives me kind of a chance to refresh some of my holdings, some of my positions that I'm in. Because I'm like, hell, this one really hasn't been performing, where some of these are setting new highs and have really, bounced back from those April lows and have surged higher. And you might have one or two in the mix that's not doing that. And so earnings can be a time where you say, okay, this one's been a little bit of a lagger. It's not to these new highs like some of these others. Maybe it's time to, close that one down, free up some capital, and then go look for some other opportunities out there. So I love that about earnings season.
I do too. And yeah, it's important to, we have to look up close. We have to be in the game week to week in a money press. Sometimes it's nice to push back and just say, hey, what's this broader view? What's happening?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just to step back, I meant to say this earlier, but the CPI, the PPI, if you're newer to trading, you're like, what in the world is that? It's like Preston said, these are our inflation gauge reports. Why that's important is the market has really been wanting the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates. And the reason there would be some hesitancy to cut rates, or the reason they might raise rates, is to offset inflation. So if these reports show inflation has ticked up, or consumer prices have ticked up, producer prices have ticked up, that can send some shockwaves through the market of, maybe this September FOMC meeting, the Fed can't do a rate cut like they're expecting.
Right.
And it could send some shockwaves through. So just to add to that is something to be, not only are we kind of wrapping up earnings season, making sure you're still keeping an eye on those earnings reports, but always some of these bigger economic reports, you want to make sure you always have your eye on some of those and how that can bring some volatility to the market.
No, absolutely, for sure.
Awesome. Well, yeah, as far as so Preston, we talked about your bullish CRM, some money cycling through. Any other earnings or things like that you've got your eye on for this week?
Yeah, C Limited, which was a huge. Well, when I went to the Sohn conference in New York, this is another one, along with Robinhood and some other names. As far as long-term growth, I mean, C Limited, ticker symbol SE, but they announce earnings before the open tomorrow, along with Circle.
Mm-hmm.
Tech, legacy tech name Cisco Systems, CSCO, announces Wednesday after the close. And I haven't even looked at a chart on Cisco. Oh, goodness gracious. They've been as hot as NVIDIA, not as hot, but that's hot. And then Applied Material is after the close on Thursday, and John Deere is after the close on Thursday. So two different industries there. But those are definitely the biggest names announcing this week.
Yeah, and P, maybe we could just do a refresh. We've talked a lot about earnings these last couple of weeks on our FogCutter Live, where we've been right in the thick of it. Now we're kind of clearing out of those really heavy weeks, but you've had a money press on SE, and so maybe you could take just a couple minutes as we wrap this one up to talk through some of the thinking as you're holding a money press trade. You're coming into an earnings report, something like C that's had, really the last week and a half, it's just kind of drifted lower.
Mm-hmm.
What that means to where your put protection was, and if it's moved down closer to that put protection, how you might not have a ton of exposure to the downside, right? But maybe you could just shed some light on your thinking going into an earnings announcement like this on a stock that you have a position going.
No, that's a really good question. And it's really, really important. It could actually just be the subject of a whole FogCutter, but we never want to start a trade right before earnings.
Right.
So that's one. B, we always want to know when the earnings dates are. I mean, if you don't start trades before earnings and then know when earning dates are, you're actually going to be ahead of the curve compared to a lot of people. So I mean, those are like basics around here, but they're so important. So you never want to start a trade on C Limited or anything that has earnings like tomorrow morning. No. So, but we find ourselves in a situation with the money press strategy where, let's say I've been in a money press for 11 weeks, and 8-9 weeks out of that, I've been able to collect these weekly premiums that are, I don't know if they can get any bigger, Mike. And I'm not talking specifically about C, but we're seeing weekly premiums in some of these names where you and I have a lot of experience with this. It never ceases to amaze me what is charged for 1 week of time. And of course, with the money press strategy, we're collecting that.
Right.
So what I'm trying to paint a picture of is, what if you've collected and stashed away and grown your account week after week, or the majority of weeks with the position, you come up on earnings and you can collect a premium that's maybe double and a half what a normal week's is if it's over earnings. And then you can bring your protection closer. So instead of further out, you can bring it closer. And I always say, we'll bring it in sooner and then closer, where even if C Limited went to zero, and I know it's not possible to go to -40, but even if it went below zero to -40 and went infinity down, you have your protection where it is. And even if the worst case scenario were to happen, you're so far ahead in the position that no matter what happens, you're ahead.
Yes.
So I wanted to paint that picture, even though we're not spelling it out and writing exactly what it is, but you can,
Yeah.
that's a far different context than someone just hopping into a trade, not
Mm-hmm.
knowing what earnings is, and then going over the earnings announcement.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why we love trading options, is we
Yes.
know as we build this trade, we have a defined risk. And we
Yes.
know that as we build the position. And, people say, oh, well, I trade stock and I just set a stop loss. And we say, well, that's great.
Mm.
C Limited is trading around 147. And if your stop was at 140, but the thing gaps down on earnings and it gaps down tomorrow morning, opens at 100, your
Yes.
stop loss is practically worthless,
Right.
right? Where
Goes right through it. It goes right
right
through the
through it.
stop
Yeah.
loss.
So if it opens at 100, that's where you're getting filled. Well, I had my stop at 140. It doesn't matter. It gapped way down the after hours trading. So options is a
And it probably
pure
gaps down to
beauty of stop
100 and then bounces to 115 and you've sold out at 100. I mean, it's probably the
exactly.
worst of the worst.
Yeah, they fill you at that miserable price usually. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's why we love trading options. It is a pure stop loss, not one that can get gapped past. It is a known set risk. So some people that are starting out, they just, hey, I'm going to close it over earnings. I'm not going to mess with it. I know,
Right.
Preston, you like to do a little bit more of a risk reward calculation, see if you want to,
Mhm.
let it ride over earnings. So good one to keep an eye on. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how this one does over earnings here.
And think of a stock like this. I mean, all the tariff news and what is it going to be next Tuesday compared to what was said last Wednesday.
For
I
sure.
mean, these stocks are dealing with a lot right now. And I think that will be ironed out. But there's a lot on the plate for
Yeah.
stocks like this. I
And there's
mean,
always something, right? I mean, right?
yes.
The tariffs and interest rates right now, it's been a little heightened for sure. There's always something, some news, something the market's really looking at. But it has been, the plate has been a little more full these
Yes.
last couple of months. I think most traders and investors would agree with that. So
Yeah. They need to get out and take a weekend off, long weekend
yeah,
like me.
need
Yes.
to get a few walks on the beach to
Right.
clear the head. So awesome. Well, let's wrap this up. Let's talk about this kind of our story from a client. Our client Spotlight shared this. This is Dick from Cedar Grove, North Carolina. And again, Preston, to lead things off, we talked about our small account mastery series. You open that $10,000 account. We trade it for 10 weeks. Like you said, it was, I mean, we're going to let it run through the rest of August, even though kind of the 10 webinars are done. But
Mhm.
yeah, having what was, you said 75%? I'm trying to remember exactly where that was hanging out last week.
Well, as of today, if we want to count today, it's like
Yeah, we do.
85%. Yeah, I want to count today.
So 10,000 to over 18,000 in really just about 11 weeks. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, right in front of the folks. You can't fudge it. I mean, we open the account every Thursday. We get together and trade, and we
Yeah.
go.
And it's
Yeah,
not just Preston. That's why we love doing this. People see what you're doing. They can choose to follow along in their own accounts.
right.
Some people open up a $10,000 account just to mimic it. Some are trading a $50,000 account or 200,000, whatever that they already have. But this is the note that Dick from Cedar Grove, North Carolina sent. He said, I just wrapped up a really productive week with Sam's Small Account Mastery Series. And I wanted to share a quick update with you. Between July 27th and August 1st, I closed out the week with a net gain of almost $2,200. So we always say real trades, real gains, right? That's what we love to do here at Trader's Edge. It's not hypotheticals. Preston's trading that real account in front of this audience, everyone that joins us in that small account mastery
Yeah.
series. So, Preston, you did a fantastic job with that. I love seeing those play out. And we traded things a little bit differently because that's what the market gave us. Sometimes we're a little more money press heavy. Sometimes we go a little more directional call heavy, just kind of depending on the markets. But we've seen some people sending in feedback. I'm up 70%. I'm up 80%. So just really fun seeing those that participated in that have a blast and enjoy following you along in that small account mastery series.
No, it was really fun. I appreciate it, man. It
Yeah.
was really fun this year.
So if you missed out on that, mark your calendar. Unless Preston can be convinced to do it twice a year, we'll usually kick that off sometime in May. So Sam's 2025, we just wrapped that up, had a blast. 10,000 to over 18,000, the $10,000 account into over 18,000. So heck of a job there, Preston. And I think we can put a bow on this one. Anything else before we wrap it up and let you get back to
Yeah.
your fun in Southern California?
Yeah, I think no, I think we covered what we wanted to, and always look forward to these, Mike. These are really fun.
Yeah, they're a blast. So thanks so much. We'll sign this one off, and we'll see
Okay.
everyone next week on our FogCutter Live.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Take care.